Here at Men Arise, with our theme of godly manhood today, the two parts being godly and manhood, it is core to my heart to give a clear, concise definition of what actually manhood is. Very confused topic in our world, and we've addressed it in a former video. Manhood is a bit complex, and we all have markers we look for, and we would encourage others to develop. But what is the actual God-given intent that would define us as truly a man? Not just male, but truly a man. As boys, we grow up, presumably, into men. But when does that happen? Is it an age? Is it a size? Is it an experience? What is it that makes us a man? A book I often refer to as I read in raising my sons to train them in what it would mean to be a man, Raising a Modern Day Knight by Robert Lewis. He gives a real clear definition. I certainly encourage you to get the book. We talked about the fact that in the first one, a real man rejects passivity, and Adam failed because he allowed the temptation. He was there at the time of that temptation, according to the text, and he allowed that temptation. And we as men must reject passivity. Jesus Christ planned on coming to us in his creation from the foundation of the world. He accepted also, not just rejecting passivity, but accepted responsibility. A real man accepts responsibility. Right after the fall, God comes to visit Adam and Eve and to call them out, knowing where they were, but wanting them to know where they were. He calls them out. And Adam, in dealing with this sin, finally says, "That woman you made me." He wouldn't even accept responsibility, that he was flat-footed when he should have been on his toes. Christ, on the other hand, came to earth and bore our sin in his own body. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 24. Jesus accepted responsibility for things he didn't even do. And as a real man, we should accept responsibility around us for things. If we're still having to be told to take out the trash, when will we accept responsibility for it rather than just being an obedient boy and doing it when we're told? A real man accepts responsibility. A real man leads courageously. It was the conduct of Adam that led all of us into sin. And as by the sin of one man, sin passed upon all of us, Romans chapter 5. So also by one man, the gift of grace passed upon all. Jesus leads courageously. And as a real man, we must lead. We must accept responsibility and step forward into the need of our world. Adam led us into sin, but Jesus leads us into the will of God and righteousness. But there's one more point. A real man rejects passivity, accepts responsibility, leads courageously, and expects a reward. Believe it or not, Jesus expected that his conduct would result in a reward. We all know what the conduct of Adam resulted in. The wages of sin are death. As by the sin of one man, death passed upon all men. There was a payment for sin, and still is. Jesus paid the price of that sin. But in Hebrews chapter 12, we are told how he did it. What motivated Jesus to pay for sin? Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 2 says, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who, for the joy that was set before him, endured the cross, despising the shame. Why? Because he knew there was joy to come. He looked forward to his bride. He looked forward to the church. He looked forward to you and I receiving redemption by his blood. And that's why he was able to take on the task. He expected there'd be a reward. And so we want to promote masculinity, but we want to be men as God designed us to be. We want to reject passivity, be on our toes, interact with our world, and stand for righteousness. We want to accept responsibility, lead courageously, and believe that God will give us a reward for minding him.